There are certain moments in life when you realize someone has crossed a line not just into your business, but into your property, your rights, and your dignity. For me, that moment came when the HOA decided to hammer a giant node fishing. HOA Members Only sign right on the bank of my private lake. The problem? I wasn't part of their HOA. I never had been. And worse, they knew it. So instead of arguing, begging, or trying to reason with them, I decided to play their game, but on my terms. If they wanted to police a lake that wasn't theirs, then I was going to remind them who actually owned it. And when I was done, the same HOA that tried to ban me from my own lake was left scrambling, humiliated, and ironically banned from the water they thought they controlled. I had bought my land 10 years ago. It wasn't just any land, it was an old cattle ranch that stretched nearly 120 acres across rolling hills. A patch of oak trees and the crown jewel, a 20-acre spring-fed lake that had been dug back in the 1950s. That lake was my retreat. I fished bass at dawn, let my grandkids paddle around on summer weekends, and occasionally let neighbors stop by for a dip. The HOA came later. A developer bought up a section next to mine, built cookie-cutter luxury homes, and formed a homeowners association. They had their own clubhouse, their own pool, and their own manicured walking trails. Fine, not my problem, or so I thought. One Friday evening, I went down to the dock with a cooler and a fishing pole. But before I even opened my tackle box, I saw it. A huge, freshly planted sign had been staked into the ground right at the bank of my lake. Nitrogen monoxide fishing private HOA lake trespassers will be fined. I nearly dropped my beer. My lake. HOAS lake. What kind of alternate reality had I stepped into? At first I thought it had to be a mistake, it'd be a prank. But when I walked around the shoreline, I found 3 more identical signs. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some error. HOA was trying to claim my lake. The next morning, I marched straight to the HOA president's house. Her name was Linda, but everyone in the neighborhood called her Karen with a clipboard. She opened the door wearing a golf visor and a smug grin. "Can I help you?" She asked sweetly, like I was a door-to-door salesman. "Yes, you can. You can take down the signs your board posted on my lake." Her grin widened. "Oh, you must be mistaken. That lake is part of the HOA's recreational amenities. Listed on our community map." I laughed. "Lady, I own that lake. I have the deed, the survey, and the tax bill to prove it. Unless your HOA bought it from me without my knowledge, you're trespassing." She tilted her head, still smiling, like I was a child. "Well, maybe you should check your paperwork, because we've voted to make it HOA property." That's when I realized what I was up against. Logic wasn't going to work. These people had convinced themselves they owned something that wasn't. Over the next week, things got worse. HOA patrol volunteers retirers with too much time on their hands started walking around the lake, forcing rules. They yelled at my nephew for fishing off the dock. They threatened my neighbor's kids for using an inflatable kayak, even called the sheriff once, claiming illegal fishing activity. The deputy showed up, checked my deed, and rolled his eyes. "Sir, you're well within your rights. I'll tell them to back off." But that only made the HOA angrier. The following day, Linda emailed me a letter on official HOA letterhead saying I owed $1,500 in fines for illegal use of HOA property. That's when I stopped laughing instead of arguing. I decided to hit them where it hurt. See, the HOA had gotten used to using my lake. They hosted barbecues on the shore, their kids swam there, and families tied their paddle boats up to my dock. They'd treated it as their own for so long that they didn't even think about the fact that they didn't pay a dime for it. So I made a few calls. First, contacted the county zoning office and confirmed in writing that the lake was entirely within my parcel boundaries. Then I reached out to a lawyer who helped me draft a simple but devastating notice. Within a week, I'd posted new signs of my own every 50 feet around the lake. Private property? No. Swimming?
Outside?
No. Boating? No. Trespassing violators will be prosecuted. I even added cameras to monitor the shoreline. If the HOA wanted to play games with signs, I was going to play harder. The reaction was explosive. The first Saturday after the signs went up, I heard shouting by the lake. Sure enough, a group of HOA families had shown up with paddleboards and coolers, only to see my new signs, when I walked down to enforce it. Linda was already there, screaming at the top of her lungs. "You can't ban us from the lake. We pay HOA dues. This is our property." I calmly held up the paperwork. "Nope. You don't pay me. You don't own it. You've been trespassing for years. That ends today." One dad tried to argue, but where are our kids supposed to swim? "HOA pool is always crowded. Not my problem," I said flatly. "Find another lake. This one's off limits." They left in a storm of angry mutters, but that was just the beginning. By Monday, I had received 12 threatening letters, 3 fake fines, and 1 voicemail where Linda called me an ungrateful parasite. Funny, since I was the one providing the lake they'd been mooching off for free. I didn't just stop with the signs. Oh no. I wanted to make sure they learned their lesson. I called the sheriff's office again and formally requested trespassing enforcement. Then I sent certified letters to every HOA household, informing them that the lake was not part of their HOA. Property, any use of it without permission would result in prosecution. My lawyer was already drafting a civil claim for damages from their unauthorized use. That last part wasn't even a bluff. My lawyer was thrilled at the idea. And just like that, the lake that had once been their summer playground turned into forbidden territory at first. The HOA tried to fight back. They hired a surveyor to prove the lake was theirs. That backfired spectacularly when the surveyor's report confirmed exactly what I'd been saying. The lake was entirely on my parcel. Next, they tried to pressure me socially. HOA members would glare at me in the grocery store, whisper behind my back, even spread rumors that I was selfish and ruining the community. But then came the final blow. Remember how they'd been holding summer events by the lake? Well, without it, their HOA amenities suddenly looked a lot less attractive. Their pool was too small, their walking trail too short, their clubhouse too outdated. By the end of the year, property values started dropping. Prospective buyers asked why don't have lake access anymore? And when those buyers heard why, they walked away. The best part came 6 months later. The HOA, desperate to regain access, invited me to a board meeting. I walked into a packed room of red-faced homeowners and smugly listened to their pleas. "Maybe we can lease the lake from you," one suggested. "Or you could join the HOA," another offered. "Then we could all share it." I leaned back, smiled, and said, "No thanks. You tried to take it from me. Now you'll never have it again." And with that, I walked out. Today the signs still stand. The cameras still record. And while my grandkids still fish off the dock, the HOA can only sit in their chlorine-smelling pool and wonder what might have been. Some people think rules and paperwork give them power. But in the end, ownership is ownership, the HOA posted. A no fishing sign on my lake. So I banned swimming and boating for them instead, and I have to say, the silence of that lake without their noise has never sounded sweeter. This story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.